Hey there, everybody. Today we're going to go through 4 ways to set up your business email. Now, before I get going here, I want to emphasize here that these are not the only 4 ways that you can use to set up your business email. Obviously, there's lots of different ways. But as far as setting up your membership business and getting things going, these are the 4 ways that I would consider if you're going to set up a business email. We're going to go in and look at each of these ways. And the very first way is going to be to use a free Gmail account. This is going to look something like yourdomain@gmail.com, or in my case, the membershipanswerman@gmail.com. And I would recommend using this method automatically. So whenever you're starting a new project or starting a new business, always go in and set up a free Gmail account. And the reason I recommend this is Gmail's never going away. And number two, again, it is free. So if you I've gotten burnt in the past when I was using a paid email setup for my business email. And, what happens is I need to downscale and I need to stop paying for that business email address. And so when I stop paying, I no longer have access to it. And so if something very important I need to get a hold of is in that email, I can't get a hold of it. So by setting up this email account using a free Gmail account. Obviously, it's not the most professional. It's not going to be Sean at the membershipanswerman.com, but it's still professional enough. It doesn't have to be perfect. Again, don't get too caught up on being perfect. And a matter of fact, this could be the only way you use, the only email account you use, and you still technically be fine. You're not going to have any issues. It's just not as professional. But I always have something like this, the membershipanswerman@gmail.com set up so that I can use it for things like setting up my business in the state of Washington where my business resides, or when I'm setting up my bank account and they ask for an email address, I'll use it for that, or for taxes. And so again, for really, really important stuff that I just want to have access to forever, no matter what, this is what I do. So I automatically use this method. So, and it's very straightforward. You would just go to gmail.com and you would go to create account. And from there, you set it up just like you would any other Gmail address. Enter your first and last name or whatever. If you want to just enter your domain name as the first name, you can do that too. And the username again would be your domain name at gmail.com, and then create your password and then do next and you're good to go. So the next option, and this is going to be the most expensive option, is to use Google Workspace. Again, not free, most expensive, but it's relatively easy to set up. And a lot of people like to use this option just because, you can just get going a little bit quicker. They might run into some technical difficulties, but if you do run into any difficulties, you can reach out to Google support and or whatever hosting company you're using for, or their domain name company you're using for your domain name. You can reach out to them and they'll help you out. A lot of people like to use this option. And again, I've used this option in the past because you're already familiar with Gmail. You're already familiar with all the other Google applications. It is $6 per user per month. I believe if you get it through Namecheap, it's actually $6.50 per user per month. And so you're better off definitely going to Google Workspace and signing up there. Again, it's just a little bit more difficult to configure. I have found that if you're using Namecheap and you use the Google Workspace option for your email there when you're setting up your domain, that is super, super easy. I mean, it's like stupid easy. But again, I guess the question is it 50 cents per month per user worth it? And so you would go to workspace.google.com for this, and then you would go to pricing. So here's workspace.google.com, and if you go to pricing, these are all the options here for the pricing. And again, you can just stick to this $6 per user per month option. You get all of the, again, like I said, recognizable things that you've been using with Google already, your Gmail, the Drive, the calendar, et cetera, but you get all this with the free version too. And so for me, it's just not that big of a deal. You do get 30 gigabytes of storage per user rather than with the free version 15 gigabytes per storage, but I already have Microsoft 365, which gives me a terabyte of storage. So it's not that necessary for me to pay for something like this when I'm not going to really need it. But that's an option, and I have used it. and it is something that I would consider. Again, it's now kind of more lower on the totem pole. The next option that we have is to use Namecheap. So if you're already using Namecheap to register your domain names, they have a business email option. And I would recommend, this is probably my second option that I would use. So I'd automatically use the first one, and then number 3 here, Namecheap. I'm more than likely going to be using this also, just because it's more of a permanent type thing and not as expensive as that Google Workspace. Again, if your domain names are not purchased through Namecheap, you can still use this business email option with Namecheap, but I hear it's very hard to configure, not very user friendly, and so I can't really recommend that. That's, if you want to go that route, great. And you might have to reach out to Namecheap support if you run into issues. But again, I've heard it's not very user friendly. So the cost for this Namecheap business email is $10.88 per user per year for your first year, and that's if you're using one user. And then after that first year, it does renew at $14.88 per year for that first user. If you end up deciding you want 2 users, like maybe Sean at themembershipanswerman.com and hello at themembershipanswerman.com, that would be $19.76 for those 2 users for the year, and that's total. And that's for the first year. It's then going to renew at $23.76 per year. That being said, it's still significantly less than Google Workspace, which would be $144 for 2 users. So once you have things all set up on Namecheap with your business email, you could then go and configure that on whatever email app you like to use. So if you're using Windows Mail, you could configure it there. If you're using Outlook, you can configure it there. If you're using Apple Mail, again, you can configure it there. That's, again, an option that I will probably be diving in and looking at for my particular business. The next option is this Zoho free mail. So if we go and take a look at that, some of the benefits of that is that it's called Zoho's Forever Free Mail. And if you're trying to keep your costs down and you're doing some bootstrapping, but you still need that professional business email address, this free option is a great way to get going. And if being an entrepreneur means testing out a lot of things, and a lot of things don't work out, so you don't want to be dumping a lot of money into stuff and have to pivot when it doesn't necessarily pay off, and move on to something new. And so if you're just checking stuff out, wanting to test stuff out, this Zoho Forever Free Mail is a great option. It allows you to have 5 users for free forever. So I could have Sean at themembershipanswerman.com, I could have hello at themembershipanswerman.com, and I could have support at themembershipanswerman.com, all with Zoho. Now, the only catch to this is that you would have to use the Zoho Mail client, and that would require you to log into zoho.com, and you would have to do all of your writing emails and reading emails from that client. You could not go and configure your Windows Mail or your Apple Mail or your Outlook with this email address, with this option. But again, for something that you're testing out and you still want a professional email, this is a great option and something that I would definitely recommend and would use myself. One thing you want to look at when you are going to this Zoho and you are going to go and check it out and you want to find it, if you go to the pricing page, it's not easy to see right away. They have it buried. So the very first thing is the 3 different tiers. The most basic version is this $1 per user per month billed annually, so $12 a year, and that's for 5 gigabits per user. And you click that up to 10, it's $1.25. But you need to scroll down to find this forever free. Right down here is this forever free plan. Again, it's up to 5 users. It's only 5 gigabytes per user, but that might be enough. And it does give you web access, but again, you're having to go through Zoho.com and use their app. And you would need to use a Zoho mobile app if you wanted to have that on their phone. But it does give that email hosting for your single domain, and it does allow 5 users for that single domain. So definitely a great option here. So now if we go back and we look at kind of the cost comparison, We have these 4 options again: that personal Gmail account, your domain at gmail.com. It's free. And again, I can't emphasize this enough. Use this right away. Just get it set up. Do that as kind of your default for every project or business that you're working with. So you can use that as kind of a permanent solution for the more important communications that you're using and you want to have access to forever. And then this next option, and the most expensive option, is this Google Workspace, which is $72 per user per year. And then the next option that I will probably be utilizing is this Namecheap business email. And again, the cost here I'm giving you is the renewable cost, or the renew cost. I'm not going to include that first year cost because it's just, that's just the first year. After that, each year is going to be this cost here, and that's $14.88 for one user for a year, or $23.76 for 2 users per year, and again, substantially less than the $72 for a user for a year with the Google Workspace. And then again, the Zoho Forever Free plan. All these 4 options to set up your email are included in my free guide on websites and tools you will need to run a successful membership site business. If you'd like to have access to that, I do have a link in the comments below. You would just share your email address and the guide is going to be emailed to you. You go and you check your email and pop into there, and that guide will be emailed to you when you share your email address with me. So that's in the comments below, but that's it for now. Thanks for watching.